All right. So I'm back in my drawer design. I'm going to add some new parts, but I'm going to use standard content to make my life a little easier. Some of these things that we use a lot are bolts. So let's come in. There's lots of standards that we can use here. SAE is a very common one for US customary parts. So we've got lots of categories in here. Looks like we got SAE O-rings. I'm going to go to ISO, which is where we're going to have most of our metric parts. I want to select bolts and screws. Now, in the bolts and screws here, I want to still keep with those hex head bolts and screws. So right now I've got an M16. I don't actually want a hex head. What am I saying? I want a socket head screw. And I actually might want a countersunk, because that's probably going to be a little bit better for my drawer slides. I won't have as much conflict. So let's go with a countersunk head here. Let's select a M4 size. And let's take a look at our length here. Looking at this top part, I might want to take a little closer look at this and go, okay, the screw that I currently have is a little bit too small. I think my length on that is a little bit too strong. I've also got threads inside of this part that really aren't doing anything. So I might actually want to up this size a little bit. Let's go to a 6mm length. And instead of having this whole thing threaded, oh, looks like I don't have the option of changing my thread length. Oh, that's a little annoying. I guess I'm stuck with the whole thing. So we'll just go ahead and have that whole thing threaded. I could come in here and add a part number here if I wanted to. Let's call this an M4 times 6 for my part number. That'll help me remember what it is. And then I'm going to insert one of those to my drawing. And there's my piece right there. Let's get him rotated a little bit. So I'm going to grab, after I select OK to put him in here, I can use after I have him selected, I can use my right click to move around, and I can use my triad controls here to rotate in the directions that I want. So now I'm looking at this. This is an overall length of 6mm. That's just a little bit too small. Let's go back and change that. So in my value over here, let's see if I can actually edit the standard. Yeah, I can. I can actually come in and make this thread length a little longer. Let's make him a thread length of 12. We'll keep that same set. We'll say M4 times 12. Oh, let me edit here. M4 times 12. I'll hit save. Let's put that M4 times 12 in there and update that. There we go. Now you'll notice that this one doesn't have threads. That's okay. We don't need to model threads in order for this thing to work. That's totally okay. Now I have a bolt that's probably going to be the right length. Let's double check that. I'm going to delete one of these instances over here and double check if that bolt's going to work out for me. So I'm going to bring him over here. I'm going to use the fastened. I could also use the snap mode. Let's try snap mode. I'm going to drag this bolt over here and I'm going to snap it to the face. Now I'm going to have to get a little bit closer here so I can get this locked in the way I want it to. Now that is a little backwards. So I'm going to use flip primary axis here. That's not quite what I want either. So I'm going to hit exit. Now I'm noticing I'm having trouble because this thing is in my way. Instead of trying to move my part out of the way, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come over here and just turn off this right slider. So here I've got drawer slides. This is my right one. I'm just going to turn him off. Turn him off. And then I can try this mate one more time. There we go. That is looking a lot better. Let's go ahead and hit green check bar. Let's go ahead and turn my drawer slide back on. And I'm not crazy about that a little bit. I'm going to edit this a little bit and I'm going to change that offset. Change this a little bit. Let's move him in a little bit. 0.2. too far. 0.1. I'm feeling pretty happy about that. Let's take a look. He sticks out a little bit into the cavity, which is what I wanted. So I'm pretty happy with that right there. So I'm gonna leave that as it is. And I could create some more of those if I wanted to. So let me grab this bolt here. I'm gonna get rid of that one. Grab this guy right here. Get rid of him.
Wait, so what did you use to create the holes through the theoretical wood?
I'll show you in a sec here.
Okay, I just finished my thingy.
Let's get our rest of our hardware in there though.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make some copies of that, and you'll notice I'm creating instances of those. I'm gonna grab this one. I'm gonna turn off my door slides one more time. I'm gonna get this one in there. Get this one in there. Now, those holes are already in there, but if I could also have it snap to the door slides themselves. That's kind of where I started. So let's do that. Turn on those door slides. Oop, there we go. I could snap that to my door slides. And make sure that I get this flipped around. I can offset it. And you'll notice I've got Z, so I actually need to go in the negative Z. 0.2, that's a little too far. Negative 0.1, that's looking pretty good. I'll do the same thing for this one. I'll do negative 0.1 on that. So now I've got my door slides in there, and I've got screws for those. I got one more there here. Let me grab this one. Copy this one, copy, paste. Grab this mate. Oop, I'm dragging the whole thing here. Let me just drag the screw. And I need to offset a little bit here. All right. So now I've got all of my screws in there. Before I go in and add my other hardware, what I'm going to do, this is my washer. One of the things that I can do here, if I've got things that are not named and I want to make changes to this part in this drawing without opening up the other one, I can use what I call edit in context. So edit in context is where you come down. If you right click on any of your instances, you can come down to edit in context. And what this does is it opens up that other workspace and it allows you to make changes to that part. So this is the part here. I am not crazy about this part number. I'm going to change the properties a little bit. I like this part number. I think it's fine. It's probably what I need to do for, you know, if I'm going to order something from McMaster-Carr, I might want to come in here and say, McMaster-Carr, that's my part number. But I actually want to change this to flat washer. So when I'm working with this, I actually know what these things are. And I could put in more descriptions about those properties of this part. These are the things that are going to help me out later when I start making orders to build this. I hit close. When I'm happy with my new version, I've named my flat washer here. I can hit create this version and go to assembly. You'll notice when I come back to my main assembly here, all of my flat washers now have names. If I make a copy of this, that instance now has the same name. I can make edits to those parts very quickly and easily. Let's do that one more time. So this one here, if I double click on it, it'll actually go into edit in context as well. This is that short screw. Let's change this property here. So let's go to properties. I'm gonna change that, grab that part number. I can change this to short screw. Hit save or apply. I think they effectively do the same. If I hit create a version and go to assembly, it'll go ahead and update that as well. is a great way to change all those names. Double click on this one. This is my handle. This is that extra part that I wanted to do. So let's do create version and go to assembly. That updates that. And now all of my things have nice names that make it a lot easier for me to work with them. What's this one here? Let's double click on that. This is that short screw. Let's hit create version and go to assembly. That should update that. Okay. So now all my parts have names. So that's how you edit in context. One of the ways to do it is right click like that. The other thing we can do here is I can actually grab the part and I can right click on that one and hit edit in context. And I want to create a new context here. This one is the one that I've already done. I want to hit a new context is what you'll have for your option. And the nice thing about this is it kind of goes back to your part studio, but in this part studio, it shows all of the other parts of your assembly. Anything that you had turned on will show up there. So in this case, I can actually see those bits there. Let's go ahead and delete these here. This will kind of take it to what you're looking at here. So you should have something that looks like this, and you should see some ghostly screws coming through. What we're going to do now is I'm actually going to create a sketch on that plane. I want to hit normal in for normal to that plane. Now this is a little bit annoying. You'll notice I can't see what I'm doing here. I might need a section view to help me out. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to come up to views, and I want to do a section view, and I can select that face for my section, and I can move this in and out to decide where I want to make my cut. Now this is not actually making a physical cut in our view. This is just creating a section plane that we can turn off and on. So if I'm not happy with that, I can come over here to turn section view off. You see that I'm not actually doing a section. I'm not actually cutting this. It's just kind of using that as a view so I can actually come in here and make edits to my sketch. So now that I've got this in here, I can actually use this geometry to help me create holes. So I'm going to come in here and start making some center point circles. I'm going to try to select that shape. Now you'll notice I'm having some trouble here. If I grab this one, I grab this one, I can actually use this to add geometry. So, but this is the tricky part. I have to do one little tiny step here to make that happen. So I've got this showing up here, but it's not actually showing up in my sketch because it's actually a little bit above my sketch here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a use command. This allows me to convert edges or faces into the sketch plane. So I'm just going to come over here to the use command. It is going to be right there. And that adds that geometry to my sketch. So you'll see now in my sketch, I have the bolts showing up there, and I can actually add, I can just select a bunch of this geometry. I'm holding down Shift. Grab this last one, hold down Shift, and I can hit use. And now all of those holes show up in my sketch. And I can use those now to extrude, but I might want to actually do this. I want to make them a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to do on top of this is I'm going to just use the offset command, grab that outside, and I'm not going to make this a whole 1/4 inch. That's huge. Let's make that a little bit smaller. Let's do a couple more offsets. Do it here. Oh, I guess I can only do one at a time. So let's do offset one more time. Grab that offset, grab this one. Oh, one more time, sorry. Keep messing this command up. Offset one more time, grab this, bring it in a little bit here, hit enter, and then I can change this dimension I can actually do math in here if I want to. So I'm going to do 1 over 32 for a 32-inch, 1/32 of an inch offset. There we go. So there's my hole. I'm going to grab this geometry here, and I'm going to make this a construction line by coming over here and hit Q. So now when I click this here, whoop, now when I click that geometry, I get most of it in there. Oop, I got one more line in here. That's not a construction line. That's a left click out in space. Grab that inside part, also make him a construction line Q. Now when I select that, it's going to get all that area, and I can do my cut now. So in this particular case, I can now do my extrude from there. When I do my extrude, I want to, instead of adding, I want to remove. So I can go all the way through there. I could also do a symmetric one. And the nice thing about doing symmetric, let's go to turn off my section view for a bit. I keep dragging this out. Why isn't my part showing up? Making a remove. If I drag this out far enough, you'll see that I've actually gone through both sides. I'm not sure exactly why my symmetric cut isn't showing up here, but it should. Usually you'll see that cut there, and you can say through all, if you drag it this way. Flip flop it, it'll go through both ways. That's another way to do it. I think through all is probably a better command in this case. So that did one of those holes. No, I actually want, sorry, I want that to actually be symmetrical, so it goes through both sides of it. And I can make that, the depth here, just make it a large number. Let's make it 100 just to make things simple. And I can go back and I make edits to those sketches as well. So I've got that geometry in there. I'm going to keep going on that. Turn my section view back on. Come here, keep those offsets going. So let's do that offset. And I'm noticing that not all the geometry that I want is actually included there. Got the face of that him in there, but I want to get that offset as well. So I get my offset, grab that, change this a little bit, hit enter, 1 over 32. Come over here, the same one. Hit enter, 1 over 32. One more hole, grab this one, enter. One over 32. And then get out of here. Let's make all of these construction holes, all these other lines constructions. They don't mess with my holes. I'm just hitting Q on the keyboard to do this. And now I should be able to go into my extrude and add those faces because I've got the face of sketch 1 selected. Should do all of those holes at once. I can hit turn section view off. Let's just double check that those holes are going through where I expect it to. Yep. So now I've got all of my holes in my part created. And the nice thing about that, doing it this way, if I go to my sheet metal and flat view, in that sheet metal and flat view, you'll see all of those holes are actually created in my drawing, in my flat view. So if I create a drawing of this, come over here and right click. Sorry, let me move my stupid face out of the way. If I come over here and hit create a drawing of this flat pattern, and I select, let's do ANSI C-inch. Let's change the size of this a little bit. Let's go up to like 1 to 4. Let's do 1 to 3. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I can add that flat view in there, and I can also come in and add, let's do a insert a drawer, and let's do a ISO view of that. We don't need to do 1 to 3. Let's just make them a little smaller. 1 to 6 here, just so we have an idea of what we're actually making. And I can come in, right click, let's make him a shaded view. So now I have a little drawing of my part. I could change the name in here. Right click, rename, and call this door body. Something like that. And I've got a very good idea of what my flat pattern looks like because I've got all my holes in there. And if I close out all this, I go back to my assembly. Oh, I need to, sorry, I need to close out of that, excuse me. One thing I need to do now that I've finished this is make sure that you hit create version. I might want to put a name in this. Holes for screws made. If I hit create, I go to my assembly. My assembly should now match that, and I should see all those holes made. Now, I am missing a couple things here. Let's go back and turn in my other door slides. I've got the screws in there, but I don't have any bolts. So let's add those in there as the next step. I'm going to take a little time here. Let's go to breakout rooms and check in.